Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today, we're looking at U.S.-Colombia relations.
Okay.
Specifically, a time when things got a little tense, shall we say, over deportation flights
Interesting.
during the Trump administration. So to help us break this down, we have an expert.
Happy to be here.
So maybe you can start us off.
Sure.
What made this particular event so interesting to you?
Well, I think what's really fascinating is when you have a situation like this where the U.S. is trying to, exert its influence in a way, and Colombia's kind of pushing back. It's sort of like like a test almost.
Yeah, like a test of wills almost.
Exactly, yeah, a test of wills. How far can one country push another?
And we're talking about specifically Trump wanting to use military aircraft
Right.
to send people back to Colombia.
Exactly, and that's a pretty bold move. Using military assets for something like that, it sends a very strong message.
It does, and the article we're looking at from CBS,
Mm.
it really paints a picture of Trump's reaction to Colombia's refusal, which was basically to threaten retaliation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was not happy about it. And that's where things get really tricky.
Yeah.
Because what does retaliation even look like in this kind of situation? I mean, the U.S. has a lot of different options.
Sure.
They could pull back on aid. They could, mess with trade agreements. There's even diplomatic pressure they could bring to bear.
There's a lot of tools in the toolbox.
A lot of tools.
So for Colombia to stand up to that, what do you think was behind that?
We have to remember that every country has its own internal politics. So for Colombia, there might have been a lot of public pressure against accepting these deportation flights.
Yeah.
Maybe there were concerns about how the deportees would be treated once they got back.
Makes sense.
Or maybe it was even simpler than that. Maybe they just wanted to send a message.
Right.
Like, hey, we're a sovereign nation. We get to make our own decisions.
We're not just going to do what you say.
Exactly.
So it sounds, this whole thing, it's bigger than just one flight.
Oh, for sure.
Or even just immigration.
It's about power.
Right.
It's about the relationship between these two countries.
It's a good reminder that these kinds of disagreements happen
Oh, yeah. All the time.
behind the scenes more than we probably realize.
Absolutely.
And, it really makes you think about what happens to countries who choose to stand up. Like, what are the consequences?
It's a gamble.
It is.
Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's something to think about. Well, this has been another fascinating deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.